This location, this episode, is near and dear to my heart because we are going to my grandparents' country of Bohemia. Let me be clear, it was its own country for a long time until war and such things changed it. It is now part of the Czech Republic and not a separate country at all anymore. However, it is still beautiful and just as mystical and mysterious. Are you ready for this? Let's go explore. Houska Castle, known locally as the Gates to Hell in the Czech Republic, it is thought to be one of the most haunted locations in the world. Demonic entities are said to be seen in the chapel, along with strange moaning, screams, and voices. It's an early Gothic castle that was built in 1253 to 1278 during the reign of Ottokar II of Bohemia. It was turned from a Gothic castle into a Renaissance chateau in the 16th century. This castle is located 47 kilometers north of Prague. It's situated in a remote area with no strategic value and is not situated on any trade route. The area itself is surrounded by swamps and thick forests surrounded by sandstone mountains. Legend says the castle was constructed on the top of a bottomless pit, which locals believe to be the gate to hell. It was said that there were half-animal, half-human creatures inhabiting it and black-winged creatures coming from it. Local legend says Houska Castle was built to keep the evil in. The castle's chapel built directly over the gates of hell to keep them closed. When construction of the castle began, local prisoners who had been sentenced to death were invited to the site and offered a reprieve for being lowered down into the cave and then report the findings. The first volunteer was lowered down, and after only seconds after disappearing into the darkness, his screams were heard above. When the unfortunate fellow was pulled to the surface, his hair had gone white, and he was still screaming. The prisoner was sent to an insane asylum, where he died 2 days later from unknown causes. During the late 1930s, the Nazis took over the castle and carried out experiments on dimensional portals and other fringe psychic experiments. In the inner courtyard, the skeletons of 3 German soldiers were unearthed, and all 3 had been executed. Castle Houska has more than its fair share of ghosts. Just outside the front gates, people have claimed to see a large headless black horse running around with blood gushing from its neck. It's said to run towards the front of the castle and jump into the air and then vanish. Guests have also claimed to see a line of people chained together walking towards the castle. Each person along the chain has a horrific injury. Some people are said to be carrying their heads or other body parts. A giant black dog is said to be attacking and biting the people along the chain, and some of these sightings have lasted several minutes. A prominent writer stayed at the castle at the end of the 1800s. He reported that he saw black-winged creatures flying around the inner courtyard, which he believed to be demons. Some dogs behaved strangely in the courtyard as if spooked. The chapel in the castle was built over the bottomless well, or so the locals claim. It is here that the gateway to hell is said to be located. Investigators who have tried to find a bottom have not been able to find one in the well. The walls of the chapel are covered with some of the oldest paintings in Europe, most of our demons and dragons being slain. Workers in the inner courtyard have heard voices coming from the chapel. On investigation, no one is there. A black figure has been seen on the upper floors and is thought to be the ghost of an unknown male. It's believed that the Germans carry out experiments in the room he's said to be seen in. Demonic entities are said to be seen in the chapel. Strange moaning, screams, and voices in many languages are said to be heard coming from below the chapel. Witnesses over the years have claimed to see something in the area of the chapel that looks like a cross between a human, a giant frog, and a bulldog. On the 3rd floor, the ghost of a beautiful young woman in a white dress has been seen. She is often peering out a window. No one knows who she is, but she appears to be the most normal of all the ghosts in and around the castle. Jaromir Samanek and some friends were having a drink on the 3rd floor when his glass started to move around the table, then lifted up in the air. The whole group witnessed it. The glass then lowered itself back to the table and slid to the center of it. A particularly nasty presence has been felt in the hunting lodge, as one guest, Zina Jarlova, was relaxing in the room with her husband when both heard a strange noise like something heavy hitting the floor close to them. She turned and saw 2 dark figures on the stairs. They had no distinguishable features. She believes one whispered something about killing some young girls. The cellar is nicknamed Satan's Office. It even has a throne embellished with horns and a trident. A black-robed, faceless priest has been seen materializing in front of the throne and walking up the steps before vanishing. Just recently, in 2009 TV's Ghost Hunters International, the team came to Castle Houska and carried out a paranormal investigation, and in their opinion, the castle is definitely haunted.